We all know the old adage about a poor workman blaming his tools, but as any golfer knows, the right clubs can make a difference. So Matt Rose went to the Ping factory in search of the perfect wedge.
The G410 wedge is a little bit thicker on the sole, a little bit longer from heel to toe. The Stealth wedge is obviously a darker finish. It's available in the different sole widths, a little bit more bounce if you're quite steep into the ball, or a little bit thinner if you're shallow. And then the Forge wedge is a new wedge to our range. It's a completely 100% forged iron, designed as a player's iron, so it gives you a little bit more curved sides. So what we want to do first of all is work out the distances that you want to hit your wedges.
How do we address that?
Okay, so we've got to make a decision as a player whether we go for a 2 wedge or a 3 wedge or a 4 wedge system in your golf bag. I'm a big fan of having a 4 wedge system, including your pitching wedge, because I feel that the wedges are the area you're going to score better at. So we have different things to think about, so that when you're out on the golf course you have variants and different options, because you don't always want to hit a full wedge. You might want to hit a knockdown wedge, or you might want to take a little bit off it. And also you've got to remember that you don't always hit full shots with your wedges. You're going to be using them for chipping. So in your current wedge setup, what have you got?
So I've got a 52,
yep,
a 56,
okay,
and a slight rogue 62 right at the end, which I quite like, because I found a lot, particularly because I get in trouble a lot around the greens, and I might, find myself having to go over a bunker or over danger. And I found that quite a useful club, actually, to sort of get myself onto the green, pop it up and get myself on the green.
At Ping we do 3 different sole widths. We do a thin sole, we do a standard sole, and we do a wide sole. And that really relates to the amount of bounce that's put onto the bottom of the golf club, the insurance, if you like. So if you're quite steep into the golf ball, then it's probably better to have a little bit more bounce on the golf club compared to if you're shallow in the golf ball. You'd probably go a little bit less bounce on there as well. On top of that, you then have to go for looks.
Yep.
You can go for the set look, so you can carry on in your G410 from pitching wedge. You could put in a U wedge, a sand wedge, and a lob wedge. Or you could go for what we describe probably as a more specialist wedge, something that's a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner on the sole, and lets you be a little bit more creative on the golf course. Have you got a preference?
Yeah, well, certainly with what I'm playing with at the moment, it is that the sort of separate wedges. I mean, they're a different brand,
okay,
in my bag. So yeah, that would be the preference from what I'm used to. But I'm open obviously to all options, whatever's going to be best.
Okay.
One thing I've noticed is these markings on the grip. What exactly are they for? So
this is our dialer wedge grip, and essentially what we want to do is convert one wedge loft into 3 different distance controls. So we have grip down indicators on the shaft. So if you want to hit a full shot, we'd grip it in position 1. If you wanted to hit a half wedge, you'd grip it in position 2. And if you wanted to hit a little chip or a cut down wedge shot, you'd grip it in position 3.
That's really useful.
It is, and it came from the tour players, so something that you might want to have put on your wedges. Okay, so we've got you hitting some shots. Personal preference, do you prefer a darker finish or do you prefer a lighter silver finish?
I like the black finish. I think it's really nice. I think any opportunity to make the clubs look a little bit different. I mean, I'm not sure I'd like it on all my irons, but on the wedges, I think that's quite a nice way of even just identifying them in the bag. But also, yeah, I think the finish on there is pretty nice.
And that's personal preference is an important part of the fitting process. We've got the Glide 2.0, we've got it available in Stealth, or we've got it available in the Chrome, and that comes down to personal preference as to which one you like. We've got you hitting some shots with the 50, the 54, the 58. Gapping looks pretty good. When it comes to the shaft, I'm a big fan of continuity, so I'd like to see the same shaft that you had in your irons, the Project XL Z60, continuing into the Glide Stealth wedges as well. With the lie angle, from watching you hit shots, I'd go just a little bit flatter in that as well. So instead of being a green lie angle, I'd bring you down 1 degree flatter and put you into that blue lie angle. Again, it just gives you a little bit of heel relief when you're hitting those half shots or 3/4 shots or chips around the green as well. I know you're a big fan of your 62. How do you feel about going down a little bit in loft?
Yeah, I don't have my heart set on a 62. It's something I've got in the bag at the moment, and I use it a lot because I'm often in trouble around the green. So I'm often, going over a hazard or whatever it may be. But, actually that's not something I'm dead set on, and would happily look at rearranging my wedges as well.
I think gapping overtakes desire, and I think to get a 58 in there, so you've got the 4-degree increments going through the set, would be more beneficial. The 58, you also have the ability to open that up. You can use it in the bunker, and it suddenly becomes a lot more of a versatile club for you as well, which, listening to your golf game that you've been talking about, I think you're going to find more benefits from that. We looked at your attack angle to decide on the amount of bounce and sole width that we put in there. It's quite inconsistent. Sometimes you're quite shallow into your wedges, sometimes you're quite steep. So I think something around our standard sole would be better suited to you. It gives you that ability to open that 58 up and turn it into a 60 or 62 if you wanted. But likewise, it's still got a decent amount of bounce on there to help you on forgiveness and turf interaction to make sure you get the best performance around the greens.